Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, whatever it is for you, but my sincere greetings. I am Ayansha. A little bio about me is that I'm almost a freshman and I am an amateur astronomer. Today I'm going to be talking about astronomy on Mars and the differences we would see while observing the basic astronomical phenomena that we see from Earth on Mars. I'm going to be going in very briefly about each subtopic since we have to leave some time for the Q&A. So let's begin. Meteors. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you have seen at least one meteor in your entire life. Well, on Mars, that meteor would be quite faint since the Martian atmosphere is not as dense as Earth's atmosphere. Also, Mars is a really dusty and polluted planet, so the odds of seeing those extremely pretty meteor showers that you'd see on Earth would be quite low. Next, we're going to talk about comets. The visibility of comets and whether it can be classified as a great comet depends on external factors such as its orbit, distance from the sun, and size, rather than the internal geographical factors of Mars. The brightest comets that we'd see on Earth would be fainter, or at least would have a different visibility on Mars, since they have different orbits with perspective to the Martian orbit and its distance from the sun. Next, I'm going to be talking about seasons. Now, Mars's time period for each revolution is 687 days, which is almost twice as long as Earth's. And the respective tropical zones are also quite similar since it is tilted at about, pretty much the same axis as the Earth. And the eccentricity of the orbit is also pretty much same. So there wouldn't be much difference in the seasons except for the duration and the temperature. It orbits the closest to the sun when the southern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, and the furthest away when the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. So summers would be hotter in the southern hemisphere as compared to the northern hemisphere, but it wouldn't be as hot as we experience it on Earth, since it is about 1.5 astronomical units away, and Earth is only 1 astronomical unit away. Eclipses. Now, these are personally my favorite astronomical phenomena, and the sad thing is that the eclipses on Mars are pretty short, and they last almost just about 30 seconds. All of the sun's light will not be blocked since the moons are pretty small compared to the size of our moon, Luna. Phobos' eclipse will be more prominent and visible than Deimos, since Deimos is smaller and further away, whereas Phobos is larger and closer. Unfortunately, I could not find much data on Deimos' eclipses, but this is the Phobos' eclipse, so Phobos' solar eclipse to be precise, and I believe this was the Curiosity mission. And last but not the least, sunsets and sunrises. We may take this for granted since we experience this every single day, but the main difference that we'd observe is that sunsets and sunrises on Mars are blue, whereas they are yellow or with warmer colors on the Earth. The sunsets are mostly blue because as our atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere, scatters blue light and allows yellow light to pass through, whereas the Martian atmosphere kind of does the opposite. It allows blue light to pass through. which makes the sunsets and sunrises appear blue. And there are some, and if you imagine the ancient astronomers seeing the sun blue as from Mars, we would have thought that sun is a newborn star till we would have developed the technology to send solar probes and then figure out that sun is actually a middle-aged star and yellow in color, not in blue color. And those little sceneries that we used to draw back when we were, at least when I was a toddler, and that would have also been different since the sun would be blue and not yellow, and the colors would have also been different. So these simplest of the astronomical phenomena that we see have actually impacted our lifestyle in the most unimaginable ways. Like, I grew up believing that the sun is yellow, and it is, but if I was on Mars, I would have believed that it was blue. And then when we, as I said, when we would have had the technology to actually figure out its actual color, I would have just thought my entire existence that, wow, I always thought that this was blue in color, but I guess not. It's just the atmosphere playing tricks on me. So I'm just gonna end this talk. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks a lot.